Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and to another Plan With Me video. This week we are memory planning the week of April 17th through to April 23rd, and we are using this beautiful kit from Scribble Prints Co., which I purchased specifically for this week, and we are pairing it with a gorgeous purple foil bundle from Scribble Prints Co. as well. I'm not even kidding when I tell you that I had this kit on my wish list for the longest time, and I never bought it because I never knew when I would use it. And I kind of felt like it leaned more towards a feminine birthday, like a feminine gamer girl type birthday. I don't know why. I think it's maybe the color palette. Not that, color palette should be sort of stereotypical to any particular gender. But I don't know. I just felt like it leaned more into a feminine energy. So I thought that this would be the perfect week to use this kit. So I picked up this kit and I used it to mark or celebrate the week of a friend of mine. She's someone that I met through streaming on Twitch. And we've become really good friends, and she's a gamer girl. So again, I just thought it was the most appropriate time to use this kit. Before we get into any further details or any sort of nitty gritty, so to speak, I just wanted to preface this video. I feel like I'm always prefacing videos with something or other, but I do really need to apologize in advance if you can hear any background noise. I'm trying really, really hard to catch up on my planner content. I've been posting, for the last 2 weeks, I've posted a video. I want to get back to a position where I'm posting 2 videos per week so that we can kind of catch up and hopefully get back on track before Christmas starts, because I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe doing some sort of Vlogmas or Planmas or something like that. But don't hold me to that, because it really, really depends on what's going on with work and life and things like that. But because of that, I would really, really like to be up to date by that time. But with that said, like I mentioned, you can probably hear, if I stop for 1 second, I'm sure that you can hear that background noise. So the neighbors they're currently to my right, but if you're standing at the front door of my house, they're our over the fence up the back neighbors. And whenever the warmer weather starts to hit, they start throwing parties, and it's literally every weekend, all weekend, they blast music, they yell, they have bonfires, but they fuel their bonfires with petrol. So there's those explosive type noises, and it irritates the hell out of my dogs. It irritates the hell out of me as a person. But what are you going to do at the same time? So there's that. Like I said, apologies in advance if you can hear that. I will do my best in editing to kind of mute that or dull that down for you where I can. But we may just have to deal with it. But anywho, as I said, this is the week of April 17th through to April 23rd. I don't think, just having a look at things, it was kind of just a very typical type week. I did have some doctors and health appointment type things here. Actually, no, this was this is very much when I was in the midst of trying to get my health sorted. And then I don't know what happened, but I dropped the ball and everything's changed. I went through all these changes. I went to the doctor, I got these checkups, I got referrals, I did all these tests. And then so many different things happened. I don't even know what happened. Just everything seemed to happen. And now, fast forward however many months it's been, and, all of my referrals have expired. The good work I'd done in terms of, shaping the way that I eat, even though it wasn't perfect, it was a lot better. I was drinking more water. I was more conscious of what I was eating. I've now kind of backpedaled significantly. And I've got to obviously, for anyone who's ever tried to lose weight or get healthy when you weren't necessarily the healthiest person, but also not the worst person in the world in terms of your health, to try and get back on that horse, so to speak, on that saddle, is probably the hardest part, because you go through that initially, and then you kind of work your way through everything. You start balancing your eating habits. You start being better. You start taking supplements, or at least in my case, I started taking supplements, and things start looking really good. You know, you start losing some weight. You start feeling better mentally. You start feeling better just in general. And then, like, with one swift click, everything's backwards and you're starting again. So I have to really sit down and focus on like how I want to move forward and how I want to get myself back into the groove of things, because I really, really do need to. There is so much going on in my life that I need to take care of and prioritize. And because I've just been so busy with so much happening, I definitely know that I've used it kind of as an excuse. And I've kind of gotten lazy, you know, like why have something healthy when I've got something that's quick and easy, you know, in the cupboard, you know, those sorts of things. So I've got to go back into that state of like being mentally aware of what I'm doing and aware of what I'm putting into my body. And, you know, I have to get back on like exercising. Well, I never really started exercising, but I really need to get into exercising and finding some sort of hobby. So I've been thinking about, you know, possibly going and doing some casual swimming, maybe taking up like an aqua aerobics class because I enjoy being in the water. But I don't know, we're getting ahead of ourselves. This was back in April, but we kind of spiraled, went down that little rabbit hole, so to speak. But yeah, this is very much when I was in the midst of getting everything under control, you know, working towards my goals. And it's very evident in kind of the plans that I've marked out throughout the week. But let's go ahead and start getting through everything, because y'all know I like to start jabber-jawing and then we lose time. So per usual, my sidebar is just very standard, very typical of me. I've got my 2 full boxes. I did mark that it was the book that I was reading, or well, no, I didn't mark the book that I was reading. I marked the series that I was reading because I was so far behind I couldn't recall which book I read when. And then I marked that the following week was my mom's birthday in the sidebar. And then, of course, we start the week with Monday. So first things first, on Monday morning, I've marked Coffee Monday. Again, you guys know at this point, I'm pretty much just marking Coffee Monday for the sake of marking Coffee Monday, particularly if I have nothing else to mark, so as to use up those scripts. I don't think I'm going to mark Coffee Monday like moving forward once my scripts are done, because like every day is coffee for me. Like it's Coffee Monday, Coffee Tuesday, Coffee Wednesday, Coffee Sunday. So Coffee Monday isn't necessarily a thing for me. I know it's a thing in the planner world, but like coffee is for me like all day, every day. I've then gone ahead and marked work for the week. And as you guys know, I do mark work the same way. Also, for anyone who may be new here, or this is the first video on my channel you are seeing, I do not go into detail about what stickers I'm using, mainly because a lot of my Plan With Me's are sped up and I run out of time as it is. And I do tend to use a lot of the same stores anyway. I will link the stores that I've used below, but if you have any questions about anything specific, definitely let me know and I will get back to you. But yeah, so work. And then this was the day that I booked in a sleep test. So when I had seen my GP as part of my like assessment, she inquired as to whether or not, you know, I was getting sufficient sleep, how I felt. I do have polycystic ovarian syndrome, so I do struggle a lot with fatigue. I can literally sleep like for hours. Like I could have a full 12-hour rest and not feel rested, because just my hormone levels, my circadian rhythm is out of sync. It's just part of the disease, I guess. It feels weird saying that, but technically it is diagnosed as a chronic disease, and I am on a chronic disease management plan, but it feels weird saying that out loud. And she just wanted to rule out that sleep apnea wasn't, you know, part of the problem. So I got a referral and I booked in a sleep study that day. And then I've marked that I did a little bit of a tidy up. So I'm assuming that after work, I kind of came downstairs and did a bit of a cleanup. I've then obviously run out of things to mark. So I did mark that my health insurance came out that day. And then I've marked having a cup of coffee and sitting down and hanging out on Twitch. I do a lot of that. I also used to stream on Twitch. I do want to go back to streaming on Twitch. I generally like played The Sims. Sometimes I played Dead by Daylight. I've trialed a couple of other games, but Sims was generally the main one that I played. And I do really miss it. I really miss the people that I used to hang out with. So want to get back to that at some point, but for this particular date, it was just me hanging out in friends' streams. Jumping on over to Tuesday. So first thing Tuesday morning, I had a blood test. For anyone who may have been around this neck of the woods for a little while, you guys would know that I am not a needle fan. I hate needles. The thought of needles makes me hyperventilate. And the sight of blood makes me get quite queasy. So having a blood test is like the worst possible thing that could ever happen to me. And this particular day, I had to have a blood test. So I did that. I survived. I'm here and now, many months later. So got it done. And then the best part of it all was that after my blood test, I got to go home and work for the rest of the afternoon. So yay. I did, however, mark that I did treat myself to some McDonald's. So I kind of like bribed myself after the fact. Like it was like, okay, I'm going to have a blood test. And then like on my way home, as a little treat or a little reward, I'm going to get myself some McDonald's, which is what I did. I've then marked that I did some clothes washing or some laundry. And then once I had finished up with work for the day, I have marked that I had a little bit of a YouTube binge. I watched a little TV, and I marked that I hung out with the boys. Whenever I mark hanging out with the boys, that is to signify that I pretty much sat on the couch with my husband and our 2 dogs, all of whom are boys and or men. And I just chill with them. So, whether we're watching TV together or whether we're just like chatting or whatever it is, we hung out. That's kind of our like chill family snuggle time. On Wednesday, I have marked at the top of the day there that I worked in the office that day. So that would have meant that on the drive into work, I did get myself a McDonald's breakfast. Again, generally I work from office once a week at this point. And generally my office days is like my treat myself day where I get myself, usually I get myself a slice of banana bread and a coffee. Whereas every other day I survive on instant coffee. So I do quite enjoy that. I then marked that I was incredibly tired. I think this is a combination of things. As I just mentioned, obviously my PCOS doesn't set me up for the best, most restful sleep. So I'm generally waking up fatigued already. So to then add on to that, the fact that like I have to get up super early, I struggle to get to sleep. So I generally, if I'm lucky, I don't know what it is, I get like a huge anxiety around going into the office, even though like I do it every week. And I tend to like toss and turn and can't sleep. So by the time I actually get to sleep, or the time that I last look at my clock, I generally get probably on average about 4 to 5 hours sleep prior to having to get up early and go to the office. So again, add that on top of the fact that I have a disease or a chronic disease that basically means that I'm always tired anyway. But needless to say, I'm like exhausted. So I marked that. I then marked that I was a good girl and I got myself a salad for lunch. So see what I mean? I was really good. I wasn't getting, takeaway of any sort in the sense of like hot chips or, pastas or carbs. I was eating a salad. I'm very proud of myself. I then marked that when I got home, I was playing with stickers and that I got myself a cup of coffee. And then once again, I did sit down and enjoy some Twitch time. And then the last thing that I marked on Wednesday was that I washed my hair, because generally speaking, I wash my hair twice per week. If I'm going somewhere in between or it's something like super important where I'll have to look presentable, I may wash my hair again, but otherwise I will try and get by with dry shampoo if I need to. But if not, I generally only wash my hair twice per week because I don't know. I used to have really greasy hair as a kid, and I was told by my hairdresser that washing my hair daily, which is what I used to do, actually makes it worse, and that I should be washing my hair once to twice per week, which is now what I've been able to, I've created that as a habit. It took a long, long time, and I now wash my hair generally on Wednesdays and Sundays. Then we have flipped on over to Thursday. So Thursday, the first thing that I marked was that it was Freya's birthday. So when I'm talking about my streamer friend whose birthday week this was, it was her birthday. So that's the first thing that I marked on the top of the day there, because generally I like to put birthdays and important events first, and then everything else kind of follows suit after that. I've then marked work for the day. And then, lovely, very predictable of me, I did mark that I had a headache this day. I must have run out of things to mark because I've then slotted in that my NRMA car insurance came out that day. And then the last thing that I marked on Thursday evening was that my football team played the world's worst team ever, by which I mean I just absolutely hate this team. They played the Penrith Panthers, and luckily for us, we did win 20 points to 18, so go team. Jumping across to Friday, I've started the day by working? Well, yes. But I started the day by marking work. And then below that, I've marked that I had technical issues. I don't remember what happened. I think I've had a lot of internet dropouts. Like I'll just be working and then randomly out of nowhere, like my internet just completely drops out, and then it takes like, 5 minutes or so to like reboot itself and come back on. So I think that that's probably what this was. There was a period of time where I think it happened like once a week for a period of like 3 weeks. So this might have been that. I don't know, but I don't like technical issues, because if the technical issues persist and they can't be fixed at home, I then have to go and work from the office, and then that could mean like a full-time thing or a more than a 1 day a week thing. And nobody wants that. So I was very frustrated by that. I've then marked that I did some laundry this day. And then when the day was through, or the working day was through, I did mark that I tried to take a nap. But if I've marked that I tried to take a nap, it means that I wasn't successful. So yes, that was fun. I've therefore instead marked that I did some tidying up. Generally, that's like a general kitchen tidy because, getting ready for dinner, that sort of thing. And then this night we had a Porto takeaway. I haven't had a Porto in the longest time. It's one of those things where you kind of have it and then I think we had, again, it was one of those, like we started having it constantly, that was our cheat meal for the week, like 4 weeks on end. And I'm just now at a point where like, I don't want it. But it was good back then. And then that night, the movie of choice, for anyone who doesn't know, my husband and I generally watch movies on a Friday and a Saturday night. And this night we watched Die Hard, which is a movie with Kevin Hart in it. It was okay. It wasn't great. Funny. Like, it had its lol moments. So feel free to check that out if you like a little bit of comedy or you like Kevin Hart. And then we are finally at the weekend. So Saturday, I started out by marking that I did some filming. And then my husband and I were watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here at this point. So I've marked that we did a little bit of a binge watch on that. Then it looks as though we went to the shops. So I've marked we had a Mad Mex for lunch. And then I treated myself to a coffee from San Churro. It is a delicious churro place, if you couldn't tell by the name. And they make a really good coffee and really good churros. So I got a takeaway coffee from there. I don't know why. We must have just on a whim decided that we wanted to get out of the house. So we've just gone for lunch, got a coffee, and then come home. Because I've then marked that when I got home, I did some sticker pulling. And then we watched a movie that night, but I failed to record what movie it was. So I've literally just written that we watched a movie. You'll see that. Again, if you're new to this part or to my channel, again, we watch a lot of movies. Sometimes I'm really bad with recording like what I do throughout the week, even though I have a little weekly notes pad. So if that ever happens and I don't record what we've watched, I just kind of watch, like, right, we watched a movie. But then last, certainly not least though, is Sunday. So Sunday, we did sleep in. So I've marked sleeping in that morning. Again, another little fun, I did an omega test this day. So again, it's a needle, but it's not like a needle. Like, it's just one of those, like, you click it and it like pierces your skin. And it was a home test. So I thought, being that it was a home test, it would be easier. And I thought that I'd have no problems, but I had to psych myself up so much. Like, at one point I thought maybe it would be easier if my husband did it. Like, I would hold my hand out and he would like pierce it for me, because then I wouldn't have to think about it. He'd kind of just do it when he was ready. And then like by the time I registered what had happened, it was done. But But then I was like, no, like what if he presses it too hard, or what if he doesn't do it properly, or what if it doesn't pierce my skin properly, or... So I was like, no, but then I didn't want him in the room because I was worried that I'd like get upset or I'd look sooky, or even though he knows that I'm a big sook and I hate needles and I hate blood. So I sent him off. He went and sat in the lounge room, and I kind of stood there for a little bit, like hyping myself up. I stood with my hand on the bench and I had the thing like pressed against my finger, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, and then didn't happen. And then 1, 2, 3, and didn't happen. Eventually I did it, and oh my God, it hurt so much. I think I pierced too far up on my finger and it wasn't fun. And then I had a chill afternoon. I had some coffee. I did some more filming. I did some journaling. I had some pasta for dinner, and then we watched I'm a Celebrity, and I uploaded a video. But that is it from me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all for another Plan With Me video very soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.